Well, I've got to put a warning at the start of this video now. This video contains no commercial connections to anybody buying or selling Bitcoins. This video is my story about buying $500 of a digital asset and what I learned about this along the way. Sadly, talking about Bitcoins seems to trigger some very nasty people, and maybe knowing that is one of the biggest warnings of all. Well, hi there. Do you remember a couple of videos back, I just missed out on that beautiful Aldi 3D printer. It was a $500 item, and I was feeling rather sad. See you later, suckers! Oh no. Oh no. That's the last one. And I thought to myself, what would happen if I transferred that $500 into Bitcoin? Would I be better off? Would I be worse off? In 1 year's time, how much money would that $500 be? So that started my quest to go and buy Bitcoin, and it really started to open up my eyes on what's going on. I had to sit down for a couple of days to understand what's going on. Where do you buy Bitcoin? What do the Bitcoin markets mean? Why is the price so different in so many different places? And why is Bitcoin just skyrocketing? And we'll touch upon those things in this very short video. It won't be short because it's a complex thing. So what I did was I found out I had to go and download a wallet onto my mobile phone. The wallet supposedly securely handles Bitcoin. I can't talk, can I? And it was curious because I went onto a Google search and you type in buy Bitcoin Australia, and of course sometimes the first things that come up are the most expensive choices because those companies are obviously paying to be listed in the front page or the top page. One of them was something I could relate to because I knew my local news agency actually sold Bitcoin through like a iPad terminal, which was connected to a whole bunch of other businesses. In fact, it's connected to a family connection of Rupert Murdoch, okay, which I'm not surprised. Okay, so I think anyone dealing in Bitcoin are making a lot of money. Went to the news agency, part of my wallet area on my phone wasn't functioning, so it was a kerfuffle. It took about an hour to do this transaction to buy the partial bit of a Bitcoin because I was only spending $500. And it was basically, in the end, when we got it running, I put my phone over the terminal and the Bitcoins magically appeared on my phone, like magic. It was magic. And then a phone call came through on my phone from Melbourne, a very strong, very thick Indian accent. It may have been Pakistan accent. And there I was talking on the phone in the news agency, and I'm being asked all these questions about how did I feel about my transaction and everything. What I didn't like was there was a 7% surcharge on the transaction. I'll just throw up on the screen here a screenshot of my transaction. So what happened there was my $500 was sapped after a 7% surcharge plus GST down to $464.16. And that was May 15. And on that day, the Bitcoin price was, for one Bitcoin, was $2,581. That's in Australian dollars. And I thought to myself, maybe I've done one of the greatest things that I've ever done in my life. This could be the best investment I've made in my life. And it had me looking closer and closer into Bitcoin and why it radically goes up in price and also radically goes down in price. It's extremely volatile. It's extremely dangerous to play with. Okay, so I was watching the Bitcoin price and I thought, wow, maybe I've got a potential here to buy multiple Aldi printers in 1 year's time when May 15, 2018 clocks over. And I'll just read you the prices I was watching on one of the markets, and the markets was a Bitcoin market in Australia. So May 17, it was 2,586. May 18, 2,560. So a bit of a drop there. May 19, 2,697. May 20, 2,800. May 21, 2,872. May 22, 2,813. May 23, 3,245. May 24, like yesterday, at the time of making this video, 3,519. So what's going on is extremely scary. It's sort of like this rocket ride of Bitcoin price going upwards. So if I look at my silly little wallet here, and there's some things I don't like about this it's called Bread Wallet, the app. I don't like the time it takes to sync and open up. If you're trying to do something fast, forget about it, okay? But Bitcoin's sort of in its infancy, okay? And there are other cryptocurrencies, and there's not just Bitcoin, there's Ethereum and all sorts of other ones. Anyway, on my phone, that's what, I hope that's going to focus in, that's what it's turned into. You can see the number there, and the number is always changing, okay? and I might get a screenshot there, but the number's always changing what's going on. And it's actually very, very eerie because that $500, not only have I grabbed back the 7% that was taken away from me, but I'm nudging not that far off the $500 being turned into $600, and I'm literally talking about a week. In fact, the price jumped up to $600 when I was making the first part of this video, but I had to split the video and change it because I got into trouble from YouTube. And the next day, as I pick up on this video, the price has fallen back down again. You can see the price there. Hopefully it's pulling focus on that there. So that is a very big warning. This is extremely volatile, and it's not a place if you want to try and make money safely. I can't emphasize that enough. Now, I've had to, well, the first video got annihilated. Obviously, there are people who are watching what's going on. I think there's problems of doing giveaways on YouTube these days. Stupidly, I attached, the thought of looking at the price of the Bitcoin in 1 year's time and seeing if people could get their head around it. I think it's a very good thing to do. There was a comment late on the first video, a very good comment, and someone said they were studying it as an economics thing at uni. And I thought, wow, get prepared for some quite radical ideas if you're studying it. It'd be a fantastic thing to study because it is just so wildly crazy of what's going on. I've written down some things here to pick up on. What's the motivation of Bitcoin moving around? And there's been a number of ideas being thrown about. And I'm picking up Gold Thomas here because I love Gold Thomas. I really think that when it blew past the gold price, and I always saw the gold price as something that Bitcoin would basically hit and then fall over. It did that a number of times. When it went past the gold price, Bitcoin really started to accelerate. There was also the time when Japan came online with this currency or digital asset. It's difficult to know what to call Bitcoin because it's sort of like this. Well, it's this thing, isn't it? I can hold a piece of physical gold like that, or even though it's a gold Thomas, I haven't got any gold on me at the moment. But in a funny way, I can't hold a Bitcoin, mind you. I can hold a Bitcoin by opening up the app on my wallet here, and in a sense, that's the Bitcoins there. They exist in the ether in a sense. Bitcoin isn't the only style of cryptocurrency. There's also Ethereum, which has got ethers, I believe. People say that will be become like Bitcoin and explode. But what I'm really scared about is, and you have to be really, really careful, when I read lines like people saying, get in on this because this will be like the next Amazon or Google or whatever else, and straight away that raises alarm bells with me. When you hear people saying this is a sure thing and this is going to be the easiest money you've ever made in your life, that's when you've got to start running for your life. I am really curious to know. I did this purely as an experiment to get the Bitcoins onto my phone. Remembering I missed out on the Aldi 3D printer, and this is a true story. I got some people saying to me, oh Leo, this is just a fake story that you've made up. Please go back and look at the Aldi 3D printer video. Please. I mean, I'm just doing this as a bit of fun. And it's funny that people want to try and destroy your fun, isn't it? From this experience, I'm learning lots about this very, very strange digital asset. I won't say the word currency because I don't really trust it as a currency. And it's a strange thing because I had to get around my head, where do I buy this? If I went down to my bank, which is, I can't say brand names, or people say, oh, you're spruiking a brand name. I walked in there and I said, can I buy some Bitcoin? They looked at me like I was a total goose. Okay, in Australia, there's no signs up that say buy Bitcoin. Apparently there are Bitcoin ATMs, but be very careful. There's some very high fees attached to those. It was bad enough going through and getting zapped the 7% when I bought that, but I knew that was coming because it was explained on the website, and I can't show the website because apparently that's deemed as spruiking them. Okay, so there'll be a lot of blurred over things in this video and it probably won't make any sense, but obviously there are people who are very, very wary of what's being said online and what's being shown because they think I've got some sort of commercial connection. I'm one of these YouTubers who I can stand up here and I can stand in court and I say I have no commercial connection or shares in anything that you're going to see on my videos, and people said, oh, you got shares in the reject shop, please. It's actually all public viewing. Go and take a look. I'm not even involved. I mean, I really do. It really narks me the way people want to come and try and take you out. But the strangest part here is with Bitcoin, the people who got in early, well, there's stories of people who bought like 100 Bitcoins and now they're multimillionaires. So it's one of these very peculiar things. You could be like an emu and put your head in a bucket and just think, oh, let this thing pass by. But you may be letting go one of the greatest opportunities of your life, but you also may be letting go one of the most dangerous things you've ever touched in your life. It will fly either way. It's very scary. Another thing I'd like to touch upon in this video is the Bill Gates prediction. And I remember watching the videos of Bill Gates talking about Bitcoin, and they did spook me because Bill Gates made like a talk about confidence levels. He said it'll get to a certain confidence point, it'll get to like a certain price, then more people will start jumping in, it'll get to the next price, then more people will start jumping in. In a strange way, I have a feeling that's what's going on. There was another theory that there was basically people running to Bitcoin as a safe haven, often gold, and I'll bring up Gold Thomas again. I could have brought up a gold fidget spinner, but that would just be too spammy, wouldn't it, to do that? But Gold Thomas will do for now. Gold is seen as a safe haven when there's trouble, when the stock market falls over, or strangely enough, when there's like a major terrorism attack, or news of nuclear threats, gold price spikes. Okay, and then one thing I heard was they said when commodities rise, Bitcoin falls. What I think affects Bitcoin price is when there's negative news about Bitcoin, and that's when there's news about Bitcoin being hacked or Bitcoin being manipulated. That has a very, very negative effect, and I think that's what made Bitcoin fall over back in 2013. And please correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I've sat down and I've done a lot of reading about this. There are a couple of questions on the first video that got annihilated by Google. People asking me about the Bitcoin mining. That's a very complex subject, and I'm not even going to go there. What worries me there is when you look at people doing their mine tours, they're setting up their Bitcoin mines in places where electricity is extremely cheap because you're trying to run your computers to help the algorithm of Bitcoin in a place where you're not going to get rammed by electricity costs. And there's basically no security in these mines. There are people just wandering in and out. It's actually quite eerie watching that. It's sort of like in the places in the back of China and wherever else. Wherever electricity is cheap, near a big hydro station, okay? It is a very complex thing to get your head around. I've sat down, and you really need to sit down for a couple of days, if not a week. It's funny, I went to the magazine shop where I bought the Bitcoins, and I thought maybe there's a magazine here that talks about it. There's nothing. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there, but be very careful because every second YouTube video I've watched, apart from they've got spamming going on in the info area, like mass spamming, they're basically ads for places where they're spruiking on selling coins and whatever else. And I think from what it looks like, there's a big clampdown of that going on. Okay, it starts to become very advertiser unfriendly. So there's a lot of warnings with talking about Bitcoin. And I've certainly been given a whipping from my first attempt. But, you know, I like to look at this as an educational thing. I mean, if you learn about this, you'd be amazed that it's going to help you understand other things in life. Like I did a real estate course just as I was starting YouTube. In fact, when I started YouTube, I was in a 6-month TAFE course down at St. Leonard's. And that's when I actually started my YouTube channel within a TAFE. I got round the firewall there. It might be a story for another day. I was learning about the ins and outs of real estate, more so to do with understanding how the agents work, because I wanted to buy a property. I needed to get inside the agent's head and manipulate it for the way I could manipulate things. Okay, there's a saying, buyers are liars. I was doing a lot of lying when I was buying property. Okay, I never told them what I was really up to. Bitcoin price versus gold price. There is a thought that when Bitcoin collapses, and this could be true, and the funny thing is, I probably hold faith in this, that it will fall back to the gold price. Now, currency in the USA used to be bound by the gold price back in the 70s, I think, and I don't know that story fully, but in a strange way, gold is looked upon as the staple of currencies in a sense. And it's funny, I looked at the Bitcoin websites. A lot of them will tout as old world currency is gold. You know, yesterday's currency was paper money. They'll have a little coin there, and future money is Bitcoin, and they'll show a gold Bitcoin, which sort of annoys me because that confuses people, because Bitcoin doesn't exist as a gold coin. Okay, and that's well, it just, I keep saying, it just exists as the thing on my phone. That's the best way I can say, well, there's Bitcoins there. Okay, you can store them on your laptop. You can store them there's like a little crypto thing that you can connect into, and it stores your Bitcoins safely, because people are always trying to hack and get your Bitcoins. And that's another little funny thing with Bitcoins. It's sort of a little bit clunky in the way it all sort of works. It takes a lot of headspace and time to understand the way it works. The mechanisms of it, to me, are not that clear. Mind you, I'm an older person and I'm just trying to get my head around a lot of the crypto jargon, as I call it. There's a lot of jargon related to any of the cryptocurrencies. Yeah, I think what we'll do in this video, I can't do a lovely giveaway like I was going to, and the prize was going to be the Bitcoins. The problem was, if I gave that out as a thing, it would have attracted a lot of bad vibe to my channel, and in the end, it was a bad thing to do. Okay, I can't do it as a giveaway. I think giveaways are basically banned on YouTube from what I could work out. Maybe you know something different, but we'll just have the thought of, in 1 year's time, and I will come back and look at my wallet. I'm not going to use these Bitcoins in my wallet here. How many Aldi printers could I buy? What will this become? Will I be able to buy one? Will I be able to buy 6? Will I be able to only struggle to buy one? This is the great conundrum of Bitcoin. Nobody knows where it's headed. Okay, if you listen to Bill Gates, well, in that theory of what Bill Gates says, I could go back to Aldi next year and buy 10. Okay, remember, it's $500. What will $500 become in 1 year's time? And the purchase time when I bought it was May 15. Okay, so next year I'll come back around and I'll look at those coins on this phone here, and I'll see where it's gone. And I also think back to a video I did, and I was going to touch upon it again, and I think it's worthwhile doing. It's when I made the comparison between, I haven't got a piece of gold with me. The best bit of gold I got here is Gold Thomas. Remember, I looked at the comparison of a Lego gold minifigure, Mr. Gold, versus a piece of gold, which was basically the same price, and I thought to myself, well, I'll ask you the question, which one is going to be worth more in a time period? You know, will a Lego Mr. Gold like double in price every 10 years as gold does? That's gold's sort of little trick. Although in the last couple of years, gold has gone nowhere, and with Bitcoin around, and if Bitcoin is seen as a safe haven in the strangest way, it's going to start affecting other, you know, stable currencies. Okay, and gold's a stable currency. So I'll finish up here with my tail between my legs. And again, on that video which was uploaded, it was only up for a very short period of time, the amount of links and spamming that was starting to go on, of people trying to spam on the places to buy Bitcoins, and you see, oh, come here for free Bitcoins. Man, do not go there. Don't touch these links. Okay, the spam filters on YouTube are picking these up pretty well. There's a lot of very, very crazy activity and people playing tricks. And with anything where there's money going in wild directions, there are so many sharks. It has been a giant shark pool of activity. And it has been, I'm thinking I'm 50. I'm thinking I have not seen anything like this in my lifetime. Anything as crazy as this. This is like totally crazy. And in a funny way, the older Leo's in the back of his head saying, wow, buyer beware, major flag, buyer beware. Be extremely cautious here because this seems really dangerous. But sometimes, obviously, doing dangerous things can be a lot of fun as well. My advice would be, you've got to play with Bitcoin as if it's like casino money. You've got to be prepared to lose it all and walk out without having a huff and a puff. But sadly, there's going to be some people who borrow money against it and whatever, and they're going to end up in a lot of trouble. I know there's going to be consequences of people playing Bitcoin. And the strange part here is, when you look at other people talking about Bitcoin on YouTube, rarely do you hear them speak a word of caution. Okay, it's all these, oh, we're going to pop a champagne bottle now, and we're going to do this, and we're going to go and buy a ritzy car. Ho, ho, look at us, we're loaded. When those people start losing money, you ain't going to hear a peep from them. And it's a bit like people who are gamblers. You only hear about the wins, don't you? You never hear about the loss. Okay, and when people lose, they can lose a lot. I'll finish this video up here. It's very dangerous ground. You need to do a lot of homework. The exchange prices are all over the place, and that's something which I don't understand why. And in certain countries where Bitcoin is in high demand, in Japan of late, the Bitcoin price can be hundreds of dollars over what's being paid in, let's say, the USA. It's, you know, supply and demand. Okay, and supposedly a finite thing. Apparently Bitcoin is a finite thing, which sort of rattles my brain as well. I'll leave this video here. Let's just watch this one get flagged.